Ah, the first century. What a time to be alive. An era of rebels and soldiers, pious men and robbers, the mundane and the divine.
It is here where our story starts, Jerusalem, roughly 2,000 years ago, a city situated in a backwater province of the Roman Empire, a city that has been an object of religious veneration and awe for the Jewish people since time immemorial.
Little did anyone know, however, that a small movement would arise here and eventually spread throughout the entire Judean province and even to the ends of the earth. I'm Seraphim.
And I'm Riel, and today we'll be talking about church history.
Now, of course, the long and eventful history of the Holy Church all starts with one man, Jesus Christ. According to gospel tradition, Christ commanded his followers to go throughout the entire world and preach the Evangelion, which means good news.
And so, after the miraculous event at Pentecost, they did just that, reaching places like Greece, Egypt, Rome, Syria, Turkey, India, Armenia, and even Romania, and allegedly Ukraine. Wow, that's far. Looking at you, St. Andrew. But although the new church was growing, it was not welcomed by all.
The church was constantly met with prejudice by the religious Jewish elite who ruled Jerusalem, and even by the greatest superpower of the ancient world, Rome. Wherever the church went, discrimination would follow, discrimination that brought both the risk of imprisonment and even death.
Such was evident during the reign of Emperor Nero, who blamed the Christians for starting a massive fire that burned down almost 71% of Rome, a fire that he possibly started. During this time, Christians were seen as abominable and wretched by their general Roman populace, making them the perfect scapegoat.
Christians were imprisoned and forced to recant their faith. If they didn't, they would be killed in the worst possible ways imaginable. Two of these victims were Saints Peter and Paul. This persecution would persist for 300 years, producing great Christian saints such as Saint Ignatius of Antioch,
A bishop and alleged student of St. John the Apostle, who was sent to Rome by Emperor Trajan to be consumed by lions.
and Saint George the Great Martyr.
A Roman soldier who faced constant torture by the Emperor Diocletian, ultimately ending in his beheading. However, all of this would change in the 4th century when Flavius Valerius Constantinus, more commonly known as Constantine, would come to power. As you can see by the picture of Constantine behind me. Wait, wrong one. No, not this one either. Ah, there we go.
Constantine was a part of a civil war in which he fought against Maxentius for the right to rule Rome. According to tradition, Constantine was instructed in a dream to paint a symbol onto the shields of his army, the hero, a combination of the first two letters of the word Christ. The next day, Constantine won the Battle of Milvian Bridge, which paved the way to his sole rule of the Roman Empire.
This would mark the beginning of Constantine's conversion and freedom for the church with the Edict of Milan in 313 AD, decreeing the permanent toleration of Christianity within the Roman Empire. But it wasn't always so perfect. Let's talk about the Arian controversy. Around 318 AD, an Alexandrian presbyter named Arius went around telling people that Christ wasn't eternal and that there was a time when the Son was not, effectively making Jesus not God, but rather a sort of ultimate divine creation, which obviously differs from the OG traditional Christian understanding of Christ's eternity and divine preexistence. But that's a whole nother can of worms.
So basically, This heresy eventually became an actual problem to the church due to many bishops and priests starting to adhere to this new and foreign Christology, which prompted Constantine to initiate the First Ecumenical Council in Nicaea during the year 325. This council was held to discuss the Arian controversy and a bunch of other things, including the date of Easter and how to properly appoint eunuchs as clergymen and stuff, but it was mostly about Arianism.
Anyway, after a punch, a flaming roof tile, and some more talking, Arianism was finally condemned as a heresy, with the formation of the Nicene Creed. Arianism would still continue for a bit, but Saint Athanasius took care of it. He's the guy who came up with the modern list of the Bible, by the way.
The church would continue thriving, initiating councils, combating some more heresies, but most importantly, it continued doing what it did best: spreading. Now, of course, the progress of the church wasn't perfect, with a few setbacks being more serious than most. But the Lord said that the gates of death shall not overcome it. And I know for a fact that you can't kill something that's unkillable.